Hello, check, check, sound check. How's the sound? How's the lights? Braces, hat. Are we on? Is it all good? And now, as soon as I start, dog comes scratching at the door. Oh, man, I'm just not gonna. I hope it doesn't bother you hearing the scratching. I'm gonna try to not let it bother me. I just need to get rolling with you guys. It's been a minute. I apologize for not doing a video over the weekend. It was crazy, as often weekends are. The house gets full. There's just a lot of activity. Well, and especially it being the last weekend before school starts. So that's exciting. School starts this week. And man, that dog, 1 second. Coco, you're so funny, little baby girl. Here, are you going to lay down next to me? Lay down next to me, bug. Come over here. She's like, why? Do you have food? She's very food motivated. And please look at you. Nice to see you, girlfriend. How are you? My goodness, I just can't thank you enough for being like my sidekick. I don't know. I don't want to. I mean, that might be a little insulting. I'm your sidekick. How was your weekend and how's your day going? So there's been a lot going on we had the Masta disaster in Alaska Distasta. That was crazy. That could not have gone worse in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. Let's do all of our stuff. Please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. There it is. And make sure that you are still subscribed. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think will like the channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring. And am I close enough to the mic? Should I pull it a little closer? I don't want to block my necklaces, dang it. Cool necklaces. I made the bigger one. I made the big round one, but not the other. And then the earrings I didn't make either. Okay, so Anna B says, LOL, it's not. It was going good, but my sister called me and told me something that got me mad, not at her, but the situation. Oh, I'm sorry. That's upsetting. Very sorry to hear that. Stressful. Yuck. So one of the reasons why I'm on so late today is because this morning I wanted to get some weed whacking done before it got too hot. And man, it heated up quick. But the smells out there, Anna B's, fall is my favorite. And it just smelled like fall. So even though it was getting warm and I was tired, getting tired out, tuckered out, because yeah, the weed whacking's a lot of work, and I have to have on the long pants, long sleeves, hat, boots, socks, everything. Otherwise, it just makes me itch like crazy. Kind of makes me itch like crazy anyway, just because the idea of it, Anyway, yeah, so I did that this morning for a couple of hours, and I didn't think there was that much to do, but there's always so much. It's like a freaking jungle out there. Yes, stressful when you want to bust a cap in someone. Laugh my arse off. I'm joking. Well, of course you are. Okay, everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. So where should I start, Anna B's? There's this heinous case that whizzed by a few weeks ago, and I missed it until today, and I caught it. It's really upsetting. So trigger warning. Trigger warning. It happened about a week before August started. I think it was like July 23rd in Alabama, in a very small town. And I'll just give you the thumbnail sketch of it. And like I said, trigger warning. It's the worst. It is absolutely the worst. I could just cry. And why it took, what, over 3 weeks? Over 3.5 weeks for me to hear about it when I watch the news all the effing time, is because it's suppressed, in my opinion. Child transporting ring in Alabama, this tiny town, like under 3,000 people, they rescued 10 little persons between the ages of 3 and 15. Most of them were under the age of 10. They rescued them out of a bunker in the woods where they were being transported. And they have arrested at least 7, if not 9 or 10 people that were involved in this ring. That's so effing gut-wrenching. OMG, where Kinkle McTaco Tits, you look so cute. Oh, thank you, my dear. Well, I wasn't going to make a big deal about my hat, but since you said something, another hat that my friend gave me that I got all crafty with, I can't remember if I showed you guys this hat, because it's kind of like a masculine hat. It's actually a men's hat. It's wool. I put the flower on it, and then I put beads that are in a flower of antique cloth, and I had fun with it. So I'm still having fun with it. Woohoo, fall. Anyway, yeah, sorry to jump tracks, but maybe that was good just to refocus for a second, because this is so effing horrific. And I want to tell you my suspicions. In a town under 3,000 people, 10 children between the ages of 3 and 15, and the majority of them being under the age of 10. And so you've got 7 to 10 adults that are coordinating this crap, being the Ghislaine Maxwells of this. Centerville is the name of the town, I think, in Alabama. I'll look at my notes, but let me see. It is just horrifying. Centerville and a town right next to it named Brent, and it's in Bibb County. So they would rug them. They would sometimes use liquid ecstasy. They would sometimes use, the Spanish fly kind of crap. They restrained them. They were like, I don't know if it was chains or cuffs or what, but they had serious restraints on these victims. An underground storm bunker in the effing woods. And they showed pictures. I'll put a link in the description to one of the many news clips about it. I couldn't believe it. When I first saw it, I was like, is this for real? Like, because like I said, it was kind of old, and I was like, nah, I couldn't have missed that. Okay, so they were abused by strangers, allegedly. I mean, I guess they're getting themselves off the hooks by saying, no, we didn't do it, because they know us. I think it was mostly, if not all, family members of the kids. And they would call the abuse appointments. Just like little E, huh? These effing predators, man. And I think because of this, I believe that in Alabama, they're trying to change the punishment for child violation to be capital punishment. And I think they should. Absolutely. I'm not 100% about that, but it seemed like I caught wind of conversations in the news clips. So let's go right into how we've been talking for a while about the 20,000 children, the Ukrainian children abducted by Vladdy's. It's at least twice that, if not 4 times that, which I'm suspected. I kind of suspected it, but I wanted to not be thinking that it could possibly be that many. So this is another thing that started a couple of weeks ago, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I hadn't heard about it. But, you can't pay attention to everything, especially because I like to do deep dives on whatever it is that I'm focused on. They're advertising to adopt the Ukrainian kids online with an online catalog, and they started publishing articles about it on August 8th, and I didn't hear about it for 10 days. I didn't hear about it until today, August 18th. And I heard a couple of different content creators mention it, and I was just like, I'm going to fact check that, because I don't know, that sounds a little over the top. So yeah, mail order or internet order. I don't know if it's, I don't know what the catalog is on. I did some digging, and yeah, I guess you don't want to dig too deep with stuff like that, because then they'll think that you're trying to shop or something. I don't know. Absolutely painful to think about. 70,000 survivors. I mean, so far there's still survivors getting sold online. And this piece of crap, our piece of crap, POTUS, had our military get down on their knees and roll out a red carpet for him. He should have been arrested the minute he stepped off of that airplane. He absolutely, literally should have been arrested. And I still can't wrap my mind around any of it. But this actually, okay, let me just get right to my meat of it, Annabise. I believe that Vladdy has all the goods on Donnie and his atrocious crimes. I believe that Vladdy has the evidence of dear leader perpetrating those types of crimes on youngsters. And I believe that that's why Donnie's acting the way he's acting and kissing the ring and tacoing and basically freaking out, doing everything he can to draw attention over there, the other place. There's at least 2 shootings, like live shooters today. I think one in Indiana and one in Brooklyn. And there were a couple of law enforcement officers in Idaho that were unalived by a domestic violence perpetrator with an armed domestic violence perpetrator. So 3 law enforcement that were shot, and 2 of them passed away yesterday in Idaho. Idaho's the same state that had 3 firefighters or 3 first responders show up for the fire that the arsonist set, and then he sniped 3, and I think 2 didn't survive and 1 did. That's a lot of first responders for Idaho to be losing. And I'm just going to do a little wild conspiracy theory here, because I know that that state is notoriously supportive of the Trumpster fire. So maybe he's got friends in that state that are acting as chaos agents to distract from the little e-files. The little e-files aren't going anywhere. In fact, let me just get to a little bit more good news, because we need it. William Barr was deposed today. So now let me catch up with you, Annabise. I heard about that. So sick. They are adopting Ukrainian children. Well, they're up for adoption. And so I think it was August 8th was the first article that I saw about that. So they've created a catalog. So you can order what age, color eyes, what types of interests. That's just blatant transporting. You know, the kind of thing that Melania was involved in. So let's talk about the effing letter that she alleged to Vladdy. To you. There's no way she wrote it. It is so much like a Harlequin romance. And the way she signed it, she probably didn't have any knowledge about it. It looks just like her husband's signature with a black Sharpie and everything. It's a duplicate. I can show you. But let me find the letter. I got it right here. That was quick and easy. Get caught up with you, and then I'll show you the F signature. It's so insane. He is such a terrible person. He has to have all the evidence. I know it's the only way you can make sense at all of any of this. So this is my thing. And I want to talk about Michael Cohen too. Michael Cohen is a liar. I rewatched that Tara Palmieri interview probably 5 times, and I finally kind of got the rhythm. Anyway, Michael Cohen could put an end to this. I think if anybody outed the Trumpster fire in those files, just fully out him, that takes all the cards away from PP guy over there in USSR, Daddy Vladdy. If Trumpster fire were to be outed for his alleged atrocities that I suspect that he committed and that there's hard evidence of, if that was just cat out of the bag, Vladdy would have nothing to threaten the Trumpster fire with. I mean, I wouldn't say nothing, but he wouldn't have that. And that's a lot. That is a lot. He has to have all the evidence. I can't believe that people can't see what's going on. It's so obvious and terrible. Well, I think a lot of people are just working and not paying attention to this. I mean, I know people who didn't even know there was an Alaska summit over the weekend. So, I think that's, for some people, that's like their coping mechanism with all this horrible stuff, is just to quit paying attention. Okay, so here's the letter. Here's the it's going to be really hard to see it. There's the, you can hardly see it at all. The Sharpie, that's Melania's signature, just straight up and down, jagged, exactly like her hubby. And this is the letter. August 15th, 2025, on Melania Trump, First Lady of the United States, letterhead. Dear President Poot, and trigger warning, this is insane, but I'm just going to read it. Every child shares the same quiet dreams in their heart, whether born randomly into a nation's rustic countryside or a magnificent city center, of love, possibility, and safety from danger. As parents, it is our duty to nurture the next generation's hope. As leaders, the responsibility to sustain our children extends beyond the comfort of a few. Undeniably, we must strive to paint a dignity-filled world for all, so that every soul may wake to peace, so that the future itself is perfectly guarded. A simple yet profound concept, Mr. PP, as I'm sure you agree, is that each generation's descendants begin their lives with a purity and innocence which stands above geography, government, ideology. Yet in today's world, some children are forced to carry a quiet laughter, untouched by the darkness around them, a silent defiance against the forces that can potentially claim their future. Mr. PP, can you single-handedly restore their melodic laughter? No, it is not a question. Mr. Vladdy Daddy, you can single-handedly restore their melodic laughter. In protecting the innocence of these children, you will do more than serve Russia alone. You serve humanity itself. Such a bold idea transcends all human division, and you Mr. Pooty, are fit to implement this vision with a stroke of the pen today. It is time. Sincerely. Again, I'll try to see if I can show you that signature. I probably can't. Yeah. Here, I got a close up of it. It's still going to be hard to see because of the glare, but that's what the Melania Trump signature. I'd like to look up her signature and see if it's similar to that, because especially that it's done with a Sharpie. I honestly think that AI wrote the letter and that Dear Donnie signed it. Hey, Coco. Hey, baby. That's my opinion. Michael Cohen is a piece of crap. He is absolutely a piece of crap. Okay, so I've recommended that Tara Palmieri hour and 10-minute interview that she did a week ago. I've even emailed her about it. I am just so impressed with her skill level and her wherewithal. I mean, she did an amazing job. And when they're arguing, which is most of the interview, about the Jane Doe, the one that he called the infant, that also she went by another, what was her other, dang it, she went by another Jane Doe kind of name. Do you remember, Anna? I'm sure I have it in here. So she filed that lawsuit in 2016 in California, but the crimes happened in New York. So, or did they happen in New York or did they happen in Florida? I might be getting my wires crossed. What was the other name that she used? Yes, Katie Johnson. Thank you, Anna B. You are so smart. Oh, I see it. It does look like Trumpster Fire's signature. Yeah, so Katie Johnson, she filed the lawsuit as Katie Johnson. That's a fake name in California. And then she withdrew it, but I think it was the wrong jurisdiction. It happened, I think, in New York. I think it was New York. Anyway, so she initially filed it from California, I think April of 2016, and then she withdrew it. And her story, I read you the lawsuit a few weeks ago. You might remember. Her story was that she was 13 when the two of them, how shall I say, violated her, abused her. So 13 years old. And she said that she was threatened was why she withdrew it. And then she refiled it in the summertime, I think in July, in New York State or New York City, and then where the crimes happened. And then she withdrew it again. And she said that she was being harassed and threatened. And then she refiled it again, I want to say in October of 2016. So right before the November election. And so Michael Cohen said that Trumpster Fire told him to take care of it, and it was bull crap. None of it was true. And Michael Cohen said that he believed him. And I believe that Michael Cohen knows completely that he's bald-faced lying. But that man has already served hard time for some of the crimes that he did for Dear Daddy Trumpster Fire. I think he was his personal attorney for somewhere around 15 years. He lost everything. He lost his dignity. He lost respect. He lost money. He lost his freedom. And he's happy to be out of jail, and he's trying to not go back to jail. I think that if it's proven that he knew about this child abuse, I think he'd actually go to jail for being an accomplice or an accessory. before, during, or after the fact. And he might be able to get out of it by doing one of those sweetheart deals, plea agreement, and get immunity for telling the truth. However, he'd probably not have anything to worry about then, if you get my drift, right? He's kind of between a rock and a hard place, but still, you got to do the right, Mr. Michael Cohen. You know this. You've already lost everything. You've been fortunate enough to get pretty much everything back. You don't want to lose it again. I really don't think his wife and kids would come back to him if he doesn't do the right thing in this situation and it gets discovered. I really don't. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. It's not like I know them or anything, but come on. So he said that. He said, Dear Donnie said that it was bullcrap, and I believed him. And Tara's like, you believed him? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, really? 100%. But then at another point in the interview, he's talking about how this pathological liar, and that he lies about everything, and that he lies about things that don't even matter, that he's just constantly talking smack, that you can't trust anything he says. He's like, even if it's non-consequential, like he used the example of on the teenagers when they were undressing. He thought that was a lie because he was present at these places, and he said that he doesn't believe that ever happened. So he says the man is a pathological liar, that he makes up stories all the time. But then on this super crucial issue of somebody who's going to go through the trouble of filing legally 3 times, and, because he hired a private eye that went to the address in the Bronx. That was weird. I went out to the Bronx, or no, he went out to the Bronx, and it was just an empty parking lot. So therefore, she doesn't exist. It never happened. No. The whole interview, and I'm so glad that I literally watched it like 5 times, probably in total now. So I really got a flavor for the whole, it's an unpleasant interview. Extremely uncomfortable. But my point, what I want to say, is that overall, Mr. Cohen's defensiveness, his like combative, gamey, squirrely, like aggressive defensiveness, that's what tells me everything I need to know right there. I think he can be prosecuted also. Yeah, I think he could for knowing. I mean, he was sentenced to 3 years for lying about the Stormy Daniels and the is it Karen McDougal, the Playboy bunny situation. So he served 3 years for lying in those cases. But I mean, this is what happens when this is the thing, like Caroline with the KKK and Heg's Breath and Vance and Patel and Bongino and all these freaking scum of the earth. When you're doing illegal things, it doesn't matter that you've been told to do that by your boss. If it's illegal, you are going to be the one to pay the price. And Donnie's not going to care. He's going to just say, oh, I don't even know the person, right? Didn't some of the pageant contestants say that little T did go backstage to their dressing rooms? Anna Bees, I'm so happy that I have you here. Thank you for the comment, because absolutely. And Tara Palmieri brings that up in the conversation, that these are real pageant contestants that have come forward and stated that they were walked in on half naked by the man who owned the teen pageants. But when they were talking about that, Annabise, it was interesting too, because essentially what Michael said accidentally, this is the problem with lying. I believe that Michael said that was sleeping with the contestants to, if you wanted to get to round 2, you had to screw the owner of the teen pageant, is my understanding from the conversation with Michael Cohen and Tara Palmieri. It's towards the end, like maybe like to the way in. Like I said, he kind of says it accidentally. And they were getting sued by somebody who was accusing them of that. And the lawsuit became very contorted because Donnie's got expensive lawyers and they play hardball. So she retracted some of her allegations, but not all of them. She stepped down from whatever contest she won, and she gave the crown or the trophy or whatever it was, she gave it back and undid that award, basically. But in his description of what happened with that one individual, he, in my opinion, let the cat out of the bag that these teenagers were not going to get to round 2 if they didn't let the owner have his way with them. That's what I heard. I'd be interested if you've listened to the video, Annabise. Now you're really going to want to, aren't you? Like I said, it's so uncomfortable, but if you can get past the discomfort, just like fold your laundry or something while you're listening, do something that is productive. But man, Tara is so good. She's so good. I'll be curious to see if she answers my email. I would imagine that she gets a million emails, so I'm not going to expect it, but it would be nice. I mean, I just have a lot of respect for her. I think she's doing great work and that she's really helping propel the case forward. So, William Barr, and then what's today? Today, 18th. I didn't write down all the dates, but there are about 10 depositions that are scheduled. So William Barr today was the first of approximately 10. And one name that is really conspicuously missing from that list of scheduled depositions is Alex Acosta. And everybody's noticing and everybody's talking about it. And I believe that he is going to get subpoenaed. So fingers crossed. That needs to happen. That absolutely needs to happen. So I was talking in my last video about the 30 women that were scheduled to testify in a hearing. The hearing was scheduled for August 27th of 2018 in the little E case. So it was scheduled for 17 days after he got Epsteined. And so those 30 women never got to provide their testimony for that hearing. Pretty crazy. And you don't want me to read to you what I have in my notes right under that trigger warning. Dirtbag Dershowitz is also being subpoenaed. He's on that list of 10 people that are scheduled. So I wanted to take a screenshot of the schedule and so I could tell you what the dates are. But Alan D is scheduled for a deposition. This is the trigger warning part. He is a nudist, okay? He's a nudist out on Martha's Vineyard. I didn't know that Martha's Vineyard had a nude beach. Like, I knew that it was like the more relaxed of the islands because I've been to Nantucket, but not Martha's Vineyard. So I guess relaxed is code for naked beach, right? So he's known for having it all hang out there. I don't know how old he is. He seems like he's probably in his 80s. He's a fugly MF. But this is the reason I bring it up, is because he swears that all the massages that he got from little E appointments, that for every single one of them, he kept his panties on. And I think he actually said panties. He kept his panties on during massages. Like, I've gotten a lot of massage therapy, and sometimes it's kind of awkward to not have your underpants on during a massage, but really you don't want them on to get the full effect of a really good Swedish massage. And it's sad that massage can quickly go into this whole escort thing, because I believe it is a very, I mean, it's one of my very most favorite therapies. It really is. It's phenomenal. It's very healing. It feels good, and it's hard work. I mean, people that are professional massage therapists, they have very muscular hands. It's very physical. If they're doing several massages a day, they're on their feet. I mean, it is work. It's like kneading bread all day, every day. And then you've got these freaks like Little E's crew. What a nightmare. Anyway, where was I going with that? So, for anyone who's gotten professional massages, it is pretty customary to actually not have anything on, but a really good massage therapist or professional is also really good at keeping your private parts private the whole time. It's called draping. So even as they're moving around and massaging different parts of your body, they're extremely careful to not expose anything. So it's very tasteful and comfortable. But why would somebody nudist on the beach in front of everyone keep his underwear on during massage therapy when it's pretty customary not to? So gross. Anyway, sorry if that was too traumatic to hear about. Oh, yuck. Now I'm going to watch it. Yeah, so I have it linked up, the Tara Palmieri interview. I have it linked up in my last two videos. And I can link it up again in this one too. Man Patel's eyes in the press conference after the Alaska debacle, they were coming out of his head worse than normal. Well, even Caroline, which is, I think, a really good nickname for her, even better than the triple K, Caroline, even she, I think, was freaked out about what happened in that meeting. And I kind of think that maybe she realized what a dirtbag her boss is, and that it almost seemed like all of a sudden she realized that she was a liar. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in her. But, there is something about these, when you're talking about the abuse of minors, that hits people differently than any other topic of discussion or criminal behavior. Like, it's the worst of the worst. I mean, in the prison system, I'm sure you know this, Anna Bees, and probably everybody watching knows that in the system, those people usually get taken out by the other prisoners, because a lot of people in the prison system were abused as children. And of honor in prison is that is the most heinous crime imaginable. So even murderers look down their noses at people that do that kind of thing to kids. But yeah, and not to mention Bongino, Bongholio, Dan Bongino, he's MIA. Like, because, if he saw pictures of Trumpster fire, maybe in the act with somebody that was obviously not over 18, that would explain a lot, wouldn't it? I mean, he really flipped out and he's continued to flip out. But, they're not saying anything about where he is. He's just gone. Gone, baby, gone. I hope he's safe. Shake my head. So gross. Yeah, he does need to go down. He's vicious. He's absolutely vicious to all of these victims. And, even Michael Cohen is. He says some nice things about, well, like, who am I to judge what these people's stories are? He tries to act like, he's actually friends with Stormy Daniels, he says, and he believes everything E. Jean Carroll said. But he thinks that Katie Johnson, Jane Doe, is going to file a lawsuit 3 times with these outlandish lies. You could get in legal trouble for filing fake lawsuits. So I don't believe it. If it was fake lawsuits, I think she would be in trouble. But that's exactly what Alan Dershowitz wants to do to anybody that tries to do something like that and doesn't succeed. He wants to put them all in jail for making the accusations. He is so gross. He's such a piece of crap. And remember, he sued the guy who said, no, I'm not going to sell you my pierogies because you're a disgusting piece of crap. And I don't have to sell my pierogies to anybody that doesn't deserve to buy my pierogies. And he filed an effing lawsuit against this pierogi guy at the farmer's market in Martha's Vineyard. It's crazy. Like, get a life. Get a life. I mean, he's just a power tripper. Massage is so good for you. I have always been to professional people. Yeah. I got my first professional massage when I was probably like 16 years old, and she was very talented. She actually had been a social worker, and then she got her massage therapy license. And I think then after getting exhausted from all the physical labor, because she did it like full time for probably a decade or more, then she went back to being a social worker. Exactly, Jazz. They cover up, but they are not messaging that area. Right. Yeah. Massaging. Sorry, I read that wrong. They cover up when they're not massaging that area. And yeah. And if you feel shy, go ahead and leave on whatever you therapist will tell you when they leave the room so that you can disrobe and lay on the sheet or the blanket. They'll say, strip down to whatever you're comfortable with, and then I'll come back in and we'll get started. So they give you a minute to get your clothes off and get on the table, and then they come in, they knock, and you're usually face down to start. And, I mean, it's a very rewarding type of therapy. And sometimes physical therapists do massage therapy. Sometimes osteopathic doctors will give massages too. Caroline doesn't care about anyone else but herself. I know she has a child. She has a 1-year-old little girl. So maybe it's dawning on her that the people that she's working for don't care about women and children's rights, and they just want to exploit them and oppress them. Anna Bees, I am more convinced than ever that, the thing in Alabama and then the thing with 70,000 Ukrainian kids, I'm just more convinced than ever that there's a distinct possibility that Kylie Rodney could be held captive somewhere. Why would the owner of Meta and Facebook, why on earth would he go boots on the ground to look for her, register in the Cal Topo, and then scrub that crap off the interweb? Oh, you know what else has been scrubbed off the interweb? It appears that Jeffrey knew Melania well before Trumpster fire knew Melania in that biblical sense. Shocking, isn't it? So that's all getting scrubbed off the internet as we speak. I think as we speak that there are many people deployed into the interweb to scrub a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to keep speaking in code as I can and hope that my videos do stay up, because I feel like it's important information. I'm sure you do too, Hannah Bees, or you wouldn't waste all your time with me, right? I do leave on my panties. Yeah, once in a while I do, but I've gotten so many. I haven't had one in a couple of years. I could use one, but I can say that it's possible, Jazz. I don't happen to believe that, but anything is possible. Oh, about Kylie. I thought you were saying about Melania and Epstein. I'm like, really? You don't believe that? Of course they did. They're both hoes. I mean, she was gorgeous. And he and his bestie pretty much screwed anything that wore a skirt. And maybe even that wasn't a requirement. Maybe there was not a gender specification. I don't know, but it didn't surprise me at all that that's Michael Wolff, who says that he has recordings of Epstein admitting to that. But it would also explain why she is freaking out and trying to sue anybody that talks about her and little E, right? That whole Hunter Biden thing. And yeah, if she's going to sue Hunter Biden, why doesn't she sue Michael Wolff? He's the source of the information. And then she's like made a bunch of channels take their videos down. I think even that older guy, oh, what is his name? He's really good. James. Oh, let me see if I can figure out his name. So close. It starts with a C. It's like C-A-R, Carville. See, again, I touch my phone and then my brain turns back on. James Carville, he took down a video because Melania threatened to sue him. And the Daily Beast took down a video for the same reason. She's going after people. Remember, Donnie said she could. He gave her permission and gave her permission to use his attorneys and everything. He's so nice. But it sounds like when he talks like that they live such separate lives. Like that she came to him to ask him if she could use his attorneys, basically, because they're not around each other for him to just know what's going on, or for him to say, OMG, you're my wife, I'm going to sue these people. Let's file a suit together. No, they don't do anything together. I think that everything you say is important. You are too. You can't be for real. You're if a viewer seems too good to be true, then it's not true. No, I'm just kidding. You're the best, Anna Bees. I am sure that melanoma was with little E. I mean, Donnie is so disgusting. Little E is extremely gross too. But if he had a good personality, he could pass for being decent looking. he could pass for handsome if he wasn't such a horrible monster. But Donnie, I know some people think he could pass for handsome. I don't think he could ever, ever, ever pass for handsome. Never, not in a million years. Okay, let's see. I got a lot of good notes here. I want to see what else I can get into this video. I wanted to go back to my last video when I was talking about the helicopter crash. The three vice presidents of Trump Taj Mahal passed away in that helicopter crash. It was October 10th of 1989. And then it was the following year, it was in 1990, that Ivana was going to go on a trip, I think it was to Indonesia, with one of the widows. And the night before the trip was when her estranged husband came into her room while she was packing for the trip and violently assaulted her on her bed and pulled out a ton of her hair. And horrible. The helicopter crash and where that connects to the bankruptcies. I'm sorry, I'm putting so much disgusting stuff all into one compact thought process. It's just overwhelming, isn't it? So the helicopter crash in relation to bankruptcies. Dear Leader first filed bankruptcy for Taj Mahal in 1991. So what did these VPs know? What kind of crazy crap was he doing? Remember, he's been rock solid with Daddy Vladdy, I think, since 87. I think that's how long they've known each other. That's a really long time. No, that Vladdy would have been a kid. But 87 is when a lot of people believe that Donnie became an operative. And being married to Ivana, whose father was not the KBG, but the equivalent of it from the country that she was from. And then they were married for 13 years. So the bankruptcy in 91, 92, 04, and 09, I think. 4 bankruptcies, but I think it's actually 6 bankruptcies. Like 2 of those bankruptcies have 2 bankruptcies in them or something like that. Remember, POTUS is not a businessman. He played one on TV, okay? He does not know what the F he's doing. And I don't think I've ever talked about this, and I'm sure you're well aware. When cities have big projects, when anybody has a big multi-million-dollar project, it's an excellent opportunity to move monies around and to wash the money and to do like the little coconut game. So think about that with like Trump Tower Vegas, Taj Mahal, the one in Russia, all of these gargantuan projects that he's doing all over the world, all of that laundering, all of that opportunity for corruption. It's out of control, absolutely out of control. I think I got all of this. No, I need to share this part. Let me see. Trumpster Fire's response to what did Vladdy Daddy mean when he said this war wouldn't have happened if Trumpster Fire in office in 2020. So Trumpster Fire was asked in an interview, I think it was Fox News, right after the Alaska disaster. And so the question was something to the effect of, what did Vladdy mean when he said this war wouldn't have happened if you were in office from the 2020 election? And you want to know Trumpster Fire's response? I had to like grab my pen, grab my notebook. It doesn't matter at this point. That's kind of a bullshit answer. Like, of course it matters. Of course it matters. History matters. History has a way of repeating itself. It's my opinion that he just can't talk about it because it's all criminal. It's all criminal. Man. He's just, he lies about everything. He redirects, he distracts, but when he has those bullshit answers, like it doesn't matter at this point. Kind of reminds me of when asked him what he thought of the Declaration of Independence when Trumpster Fire was showing it to him in the Oval Office, and Trumpster Fire's answer was, well, it's exactly what it says it is. It's a Declaration of Independence, and it's all very happy, and I love it all. Like, it's not a happy thing. It's actually a very angry, defiant thing. He doesn't have a clue. He does not have a clue. So the letter that Melania allegedly wrote to Vladdy Daddy, she allegedly handed it to Dear Donnie so that Dear Donnie could give it to Vladdy Daddy. Like, an important meeting like that, why wouldn't she just fly with Donnie? You got 70,000 children's lives at stake. Why not fly in person and try to be persuasive? Or you could just send it carrier pigeon, right? And get there just as fast as sending it with Trumpster Fire. Who was it who called him the Twitter tweeter toddler? Have you heard that, Anna Bees? It was a content creator, and I meant to write down who said it because I want to give them credit. I'll figure it out. Twitter tweeter toddler. Is that the best nickname? Start calling him that because the Trumpster Fire, I don't know, it doesn't really get out of my mouth so easily. But Twitter tweeter toddler, that's funny. Triple T. Thank you, Jez. Little T was never handsome. Yeah. I know. I mean, little E, I hate to admit that he was. But it's funny when you look at the pictures of the two of them together, because D is so butt fugly. And then next to this guy who, you know, he's kind of got like the Arthur Fonzarelli, the rebel without a cause kind of look. The Vinny Barbarino, that kind of thing. I mean, he was from the Bronx. I think he was from Brooklyn, actually. I just can't get over Michael Cohen calling the Bronx the Bronx, because, you know, there's an X at the end. But I do wonder, because these computers sometimes cut off our words. So I wonder if he said Bronx and the computer just forgot the S. But the computer definitely didn't put infant into that sentence that he said 10 minutes in when he's talking about Jane Doe, the infant. That is effing bizarre. Very strange. I don't even want to think about that. But I do think it's important too. 38 years. My son was born in 87. Yeah, I know. See, I was thinking 40 years because 85 is when I graduated high school and I just had my 40-year reunion. It's impossible. Impossible. He is for sure laundering all kinds of dough. Yeah. I haven't heard that nickname. Isn't it hilarious? I only heard it yesterday. Tweeter, toddler. It could have been, I've had it. It could have been House Sparks, but whoever it was, I'll figure it out. Because, yeah, they definitely deserve credit. And I wrote it down, and I meant to write down their name so that I could give them a shout out. Anyway, I found myself looking up the shared psychotic disorder because I believe that a lot of the MAGA that are so hardcore MAGA, that they have a shared psychotic disorder. And that, they're delusional. Donnie's delusional. And I believe that people who worship him are delusional. They like to think that he's a protector, that he's going to protect women and kids. He wants to say he's a protector. It's insane. Oh, and then that text or toddler that he put up, I think it was yesterday morning, Anna B. What do you make of that? BELA. I am so glad that I looked it up because it can mean a lot of things. And it might not have been an accident. I don't think it was. Like that Con Fefe crap years ago. But, Newsom put up a post addressing it and saying that he meant to say beta because he was so submissive to Alpha Vladdy, Daddy Vladdy. Let me let the puppy out real quick. 1 sec. Okay. Make up your mind. All right. Where else? Okay, so Bella can actually mean white, which I found odd. It can mean fair. It can mean heart or courage. It can mean time, duration. It can be Lord, Master. It can be noble, distinguished. And then I thought it was interesting, too, that Bela Lugosi played a Dracula. So I don't know if it has anything to do with that. What do you think? Did you notice that post? And what do you make of it? Little E was a bit handsome, sort of. Yeah, if he was a nice person, he could have been. He protects their rights to be racist. What does it mean? So, yeah, I think that maybe white was what he was going for. Master. Noble, distinguished. We know that he thinks he's all that. He's a slob. Oh, my gosh. Anna Bees, did you see him walking off of the airplane, Dear Donnie, on the red carpet? How he was like meandering, like it was like he was drunk driving, but it was just him on his legs, his feet, when he's walking down that wide red carpet. It was insane. And maybe he is drunk. I don't know. I think I know he doesn't drink, he says, but I think that he's hopped up on Scooby snacks, don't you? Bella means beautiful in Spanish. Yes, he couldn't walk straight. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. And then he was so excited to see Vladdy Daddy. That was so effing bizarre. So I've heard some people talk about that it was a body double, that Putin wouldn't dare step foot onto U.S. soil, that he's just not going to leave Russia, and that there's too many people that want to assassinate him, and that he's a germaphobe and all this other stuff. I don't really have an opinion or the other as far as if it could be a body double or not. But of course, pretty much every famous person has body doubles. It's something that they do, just have decoys. It's something that you can do without being sinister, having a body double. That stuff about Bibb County, the child predators. And the liquid ecstasy. Now, this is what made me really suspicious of this case in Bibb County, is that they haven't recovered any of the videos. And they said the victims reported that all of the acts were videotaped and photographed, and that they would watch each other do the abuse. That the humiliation was a huge element of the adults were like making fun of the victims and just being so horrific. But they haven't recovered any of the video. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. That makes me think that they're protecting the Johns. And I don't buy, I can't remember if I articulated this at the beginning of the video clearly or not, as kind of trying to beat around the bush. I don't buy that in a town of under 3,000 people with 10 kids being kidnapped and held captive, 7 to 10 perpetrators that abducted them and held them in this bunker out in the woods. I don't buy that law enforcement didn't know something about it. I mean, that's a small town. That's a really small town. I don't know exactly how long it was going on for, but it seemed like it was going on for at least a year, maybe. But not that they haven't recovered any of the video. I don't know about photographic evidence, but that doesn't sound right. That just smacks of sus AF. Oh, Nicole Wallace. Okay. Last page of my notes. You know who Nicole Wallace is, Anna Bees? You probably are a big fan, like I am. She's one of the, would you call her a newscaster or an investigative journalist on MSNBC? She's great. She's very professional. And talk about noble and distinguished. She's just extremely poised. That's the word I'm looking for. She had an interview about a week or two ago where she interviewed Gloria Allred. No, the interview with Gloria Allred, who's the famous attorney, and her client, Alicia Arden, who filed a sexual battery complaint against little E in California in 1997. That's Alicia Arden. And Gloria Allred is her attorney. And she's represented like 27 little E victims, I think. So she was being interviewed. Gloria Allred was, and I think Alicia Archen was interviewed too. I think they had like a Zoom interview basically. And that was really good. And I saw it like a week ago, maybe not even a week ago. And then all of a sudden, the last couple of days, Trumpster Fire's posting about Nicole Wallace getting fired. And I know he said a specific reason. I can't remember if it was because she was stating something about little E and Melania, or, that toddler and his freaking posts, his truths. How can we add that in there? The tweeter toddler truther. I mean, he just blows people up with a post, and they're marked. Even if they hold on to their job, like they get harassed, they have a target on their back. OMG. But yeah, I suspect that it's because she interviewed Gloria Allred and Elisa Archers. And Gloria Allred is not somebody that I would want to be in a litigious situation with, where she were not representing me. I mean, that woman is a pit bull in a really good way. She was Amber Fry's attorney. She's taken a few high-profile cases. She was the attorney for the woman that Tiger Woods was cheating on his wife with when she tried to rescue him out of his car with a 9-iron or iron, I forget which one it was. And then the woman was going to make a public statement, and Gloria Allred was representing her, but then she didn't actually make that public statement. I think she got a big bonus paycheck from her boyfriend to shut the F up. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about before wrapping up, and thank you a million times over, Annabise, for being my conversation piece. Little T says the victims are just trying to make him look bad by making accusations that he did something he shouldn't have. So that's been in the news, that behind the scenes, Donnie has been trashing the victims, the little E victims, and saying that they're just trying to make him look bad. And I'm just like, dude, you don't need any help with that. Like, you do an amazing job all by your big old self. Oh my goodness. Oh, and that they're all Democrats. It's because they're Democrats and they're just out to get them. Like, always playing the freaking victim. Always. And Annabelle says it looked like Vladdy. Yeah, the idea of the body double definitely looked like him. But there's a lot of really good content creators that have made videos questioning, for good reason, I think, questioning if it is actually him. They didn't find the video. That's not believable. Exactly. Well, I'm sure there was a glitch in the system, right, Annabise? There's just a glitch where they couldn't get access to any of them. Tweeter, toddler, taco tits. There you go. Tweeter, toddler, taco tits, truther. Oh my goodness, too much with all this devastating. So many people getting destroyed. I mean, taken from them, literally. Millions of people that have died in this Ukraine-Russia war. Millions of people on both sides. Does Vladdy or Donnie give a crap about any one of them? I don't think they do. I don't think they have the capacity to give a damn. It was his wife. That video of her tearing up Tiger's car was priceless. It was his wife that had Gloria Allred with Tiger Woods. Yeah, I remember it was Thanksgiving Day, and her mother was visiting, and they had a couple of toddlers. And he had taken Ambien, and he was like texting his girlfriend. It sounded like he was really serious about this one too. Like, it sounded like he cheated on, was her name Elin, I think, say her name. Elin? I think that's how you say it. She was Norwegian. Let's see. Elin Norgren. Yeah, Elin. Swedish model. She's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I mean, what a way to spend Thanksgiving. And then, she had to make up a story because she could have been arrested for domestic violence. I mean, he really could have pressed charges for that, even though he deserved it. And it's too bad she missed, right? Man, I mean, he had the accident probably because she was chasing him with the golf club and smashing his windows. That's why he crashed, I believe. But yeah, they just tried to clean it all up, sweep it under the rug. Nothing to see over here, right? I forget the girlfriend's name. What was Tiger Woods's? Who was Tiger Woods's girlfriend that broke up his marriage with Ellen Norgren? Rachel Uchitel? Uchitel. So it was 2009, is that right? And then they had their full divorce in 2010. And so yeah, he's currently dating Don Jr.'s ex-wife, the one that slept with Don Sr., and that's how she met her ex-husband, Don Jr. Ugh. What's her name? Barface? Vanessa Trump. Ugh. OMG. So yeah, Vanessa Trump is now with Tiger Woods. I wasn't even thinking about that, how that ties into the whole situation, comes full circle. So Anna Bees and Billy, darling. Oh my goodness. I was just starting to wind down. Now I want to stay on for another hour since you're here. But I probably can't because these damn braces. Have you seen me with them yet, Billy? I don't think you have. They're nuts. 2 weeks today. Yeah, she was the one who tore up his car with the golf club. Yes, that was her name. Hey, y'all, and Jazz. Hey, Billy, XOX. Nice to see you both. Lovely to see you, my dear. So I was going to wrap up, but you're from the lovely state of California. I don't understand why people don't, especially mainstream media, news reporters, investigative journalists, YouTubers, all of us. I don't understand why people don't pay attention to the fact that Don Jr., Don Jr. was engaged to Gavin Newsom's ex-wife for 5 years, Kimberly Guilfoyle. And then allegedly she cheated on Don Jr. with Don Sr. And now she has since been appointed to be the ambassador of a toilet in Greece, right? Cognitive dissonance. I think a lot of people don't know. Like when I came across that information a month or two ago, I was just like, no way, that can't be true. And I looked it up and I'm like, oh my God, it's true. It's true. So Evan and Kimberly Guilfoyle were married, I want to say for about 5 years, like maybe around 2001 to 2006. And then she was engaged to Don Jr. for about 5 years, probably from around 2000 to 2024, 25. So yeah, I don't know if it's true, the rumors about her having an affair with his dad. She has a pretty rancid past of harassment of her employees, and Um, I mean, she's a wild one. She's an absolute wild one. But the reason that I think it's important to bring it up, and I wish that it was more common knowledge, is that there's so much more going on between Donnie and Gavin than just the political banter, than just the, being the governor and being the president. I mean, they got the whole thing with the chickadee, right? And this is a good thing to finish on. Have you guys seen those crazy posts that Gavin's been putting up of himself looking like Rambo and saying, I'm the most handsomest governor the state has ever seen. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Have you guys seen this stuff? It's hilarious. OMG. Cognitive dissonance. That is wild. Yeah. It's funny. Too funny. So yeah, sister, what are you up to these days? It's so lovely to see you. Thank you guys both for being here. I really don't want to just leave now that you're both here. Let's just chat about the weather or something, right? What a freaking train wreck the politics have become. And we didn't even talk about the whole ICE raid crap and the troops in DC. Donnie's getting sued a lot by a lot of people for a lot of the things that he's done. I mean, he does move fast and break things. You can give him credit for moving fast and breaking things. But man, he gets sued a lot. And I think he loses like 95% of the suits. Like I looked it up. I'm pretty sure he's losing like 95% of the suits. Gavin was so funny. He's hilarious. But see, I think it has a lot more to do with them knowing each other on a personal level. But yeah, I'm glad Gavin is going after him like that. It's ridiculous. And then the MAGA people are criticizing Gavin for it. It's like, oh, but when Donnie does it, it's fine. It's not weird at all for him to post himself as the Pope or God or Jesus. That's not weird. It's not weird for him to post himself as like Captain America flying through space, shirtless with muscles ripped. What was he thinking when he was with Kimberly G? Well, she was actually pretty cute back then, Anna Bees. If you look at the pictures of her, she was a knockout. But yeah, I'm sure she was a pain in the rear end. So he might not, is what I'm thinking. Because to put up with her, wow. And I never watched whatever Housewives show she became famous from. But man, when she talks, she is a wild one. I don't know if she's drunk or what. Maybe like Janine Pirno. I mean, she's just off the wall, really. But yeah, she was gorgeous before she completely ruined herself with all the plastic surgery. And I think she's like 6 years older than him. Yeah, I do. Let's see. How old is Gavin Newsom? But see, I also have always figured that Melania has had a thing for Gavin, right? The way she looks at him. Gavin Newsom, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Gavin Newsom, Kimberly Guilfoyle, age difference. Wait, no, they're 1 year apart. No, so she's a lot older than Don Jr. Okay, so Gavin's 57, Guilfoyle is 56. But then there was a big age difference. Oh my goodness. Holy caboli. She got away from her ex-husband by dating Eric Valenci, who couldn't have been any more different from her husband. He was a former Calvin Klein model, and he was significantly younger. I'm confused. I'll have to look more into that. Anyway, yeah, the pictures of her with Eric Valenci. I think she was with him before she was with Gavin, and it's not that big of an age difference. I mean, it's sort of what I thought the age difference was with her and Gavin. Like, she was 37 and he was 31. But if she's 56 now, I think Eric, or not Eric, but Don, he's like 50. Donald Trump Jr. age. 47 years. So there's a 10-year age difference. That's wild. Or no. I'm doing, she's 56. 9 years. 9-year difference. Sorry, you know me in math. When I'm on live, my brain melts, especially this late in the day. Oh my goodness, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin and everything. Gavin is very handsome. She has a huge mouth. Don Jr. is so gross. Donald is so gross. Kim is so gross. I miss all these great comments. Yeah. I mean, she was so pretty before she blew up her face with silicone and whatever crap Christy Nome uses. Baby placenta, don't they? Ugh, disgusting. Donald is so gross, and he's probably using Botox and baby placenta too. Don Sr., I bet he is. Don Jr. is so gross. Yeah, absolutely. She's not pretty now. She is not pretty now. I have to agree with you. She's completely destroyed herself. I mean, she's 56. It's not like she's an old lady, but I'm sure she's just trying to look young, and she just makes herself look worse and worse. MAGA is so gross. Well, Gavin is very handsome. I agree. Gavin, I mean, he's a well-composed individual. And I just got to make the comment about Trump making fun of his last name, Newscomb, and tells a story about how when he was in 8th grade, there was a kid that came up with that to bully him. Like, so I just think it's perfect because it's so adolescent. It's so juvie. Kind of cute. Donald has beady, close set eyes. Oh, the junior one has the beady, close set eyes, doesn't he? I'm not so sure about senior. Eric too, the other son. For an old man, Gavin is fit too. Oh yeah, absolutely. Old man, you're funny. He's not old. Kim, go the maggot makeover. Yeah, Kim got the maggot makeover. Yeah, I know they're really into the whole silicone lips and like probably like cheek injections. They probably put in fake. I mean, they really do it up. And then they all kind of look alike. It's weird. They all resemble each other. It's like Stepford Wives. So Billy Darling, I'm thinking more and more that Kylie Rodney could be trafficked. I mean, all the trafficking going on in the world, in our country and outside of our country, and just that whole effing case and how it was so weird and so stupid and so backwards. I really think they gave themselves away just by having so many FBI agents out there on day one. Like, even if you were having a big convention of FBI, so they're all there in Tahoe, then you have a missing girl, you don't have like 50 federal agents go stand on the beach. Where is she? Huh? It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And then you think about, you've got the Pelosi's, or sorry, yeah, Podesta and Pelosi, right? I'm getting my wires crossed. I better wrap up. I think you got both of them up there in Tahoe. You got the Hamburglers. You've got the Z-Man with his billions. And then you've got the twisted law enforcement up there. It's not so far out to think that somebody wanted her. But maybe not. I mean, it's hard to say with her case. It's just, it's insane that people get abused like that. It's insane that people want to abuse other people. Like, it's so twisted. It's so sad. It's so disgusting. 0 friends, family were in the searches. Are you serious, Billy, darling? Shoot, I don't know why, but I lost connection with you. Oh, you were out of the loop for a second, Annabise? Glad you're back. 0. Well, the fact that her mom wasn't looking for her is insane. I mean, if your kid was missing, absolutely not. And she's just like, oh, well, they're professionals. I'll leave it to them. It's like, no, it's not all professionals out there doing it. Scammy was doing it. She was organizing it. You can't just leave it to Scammy. Yeah, that is completely crazy. Like, you would have the mom, the dad, the grandpa, the biological dad, and the biological grandmother, and there was a step grandmother, I think, that the granddad was remarried. Probably the grandma was remarried too. And then you had the whole thing. Oh, I'm so glad we're still on, Billy Darling and Anna Bees. You had the whole thing with Ms. Kylie Rodney's grandmother, Lindsay Rodney Neiman's mom, I believe, had worked for Child Protective Services. She resigned. Kylie goes missing, and she unresigns. I kind of feel like I should just cut the feed right there just to let that sink in, but I don't want to cut the feed. Vulnerable children. There has been rumor, speculation, and cases of state child protective service agencies being involved in transporting vulnerable kids. Kylie's grandmother coming out of retirement. That seems very contrived and specific to me. Not to mention the claim that SF Investigates said not too long ago that he's been on Daniel Rodney's payroll ever since Kylie went missing. Do you guys remember where in Mexico she went and when she got back? Because she'd just gotten back from a Mexico trip. They just did the Alpine summit, or not summit, the what do you call those things? Retreat, the Alpine retreat. The dudes coming to the lodge, their semi-annual retreat. And then that whole thing with the freaking the place where all of the crazy, wealthy, elite dudes go over towards the ocean. Totally blanking out. What is that damn thing called? You guys know what I'm talking about. Hey, What's that damn thing called? You know, the dudes. Elite Gentlemen's Club in Northern California in the woods. Bohemian Grove. That place was just totally brain shut down. I never forget the name of that. The whole thing with Bohemian Grove, the whole thing with the trafficking, the whole thing with like Jägermeister and the things that he said in his shh post where he called everybody a bunch of gross pedos. Yeah. And then that whole thing with the yellow boat with the little Kylie Rodney in the yellow boat out there on the lake by herself and putting that in as an advertisement in a men's magazine for the Lost Trail Lodge. We got this cute little tiny blonde kid in a boat all by herself. Like to appeal to men to come to a lodge. That seems like hard evidence to me. That doesn't seem like speculation. I mean, some of this stuff just hides in plain sight. The public record scare me searches. No one was listed in the searches. 0 friends, family listed in the arranged searches for Kylie. What? She worked for CPS. Billy, darling. Oh my goodness. I bet you knew that and forgot. Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad we're having this conversation, dear one. Yes, that's suspicious. Yeah. So Kylie Rodney's grandmother, and I think it was Lindsay's mom. I think it was that grandmother name, but she had been a social worker, I think, for Child Protective Services for like a whole career, like maybe 20 years, I believe, maybe longer. And then she retired. I don't know when she retired, but then right after Kylie goes missing, she comes out of retirement and joins back into Child Protective Services. That's not a fun place to work. I have a very good friend who's worked there her entire career. It was not a fun place to work. My sister worked in that type of thing in the juvenile courts. She's a teacher now. Not a fun place to work. Not a nice place to work. And I've done a lot of work with Child Protective Services too, come to think of it, over the years. It's not something that you do for fun. Like if you're retired and you know, if you need money, sure, you'll go back. But yeah, it's suspicious. So the grandparents had a problem with mom and stepdad at the lodge, it seems, and how they took care of the kids. Ew, I see. I didn't really know that. But yeah, I mean, you know, I have 4 kids. I can't imagine letting my 16-year-old daughter drive around Tahoe in an SUV, not see her all day. I don't know. I mean, I give my kids a lot of freedom, but you know, she wakes up in the morning. And the way Lindsay told that story about how she woke up in the morning and the first thing she did, like it didn't make sense. It's been too long. I can't remember it, but maybe you guys can. She said something about how, you know, she ran over to the window and she saw that her car wasn't there. But then, you know, she picked up her phone. The way she told the story is like she was lying. Things were out of order. It wasn't, it didn't add up. Let's see. Because Grandpa threw both mom and stepdad out of the lodge. And there was like rumors that he wanted Kylie to have it or something. I mean, she was so responsible. right? I mean, she was only 16 and she was so responsible. I do not remember where she went in Mexico. Right, but she went with Mags and Mags's mom. And then Mags being one of the very last people to be around her the night of the alleged party, the Lord of the Flies party, right? Bohemian Grove, the Grove, yeah. OMG, Men Meg. Yeah, yeah. So, Billy, darling, when I first found that photograph, I did so much deep, deep digging, and I was on Facebook still back then, too. So, a lot of information I would find on Facebook, a lot of photographs I'd find on Facebook. But when I found that little picture of the yellow boat, it was completely explicitly taken by a photographer from Men's Magazine. They went to the lodge and took that picture of Kylie, and then it was in the back of the magazine, like in those little ads. So it had it online. It had like the little tiny picture of this beautiful blonde 7-year-old, like prepubescent kid in a boat all by herself, and you're trying to advertise to men to come to nature. What? It doesn't make sense. It's right in our face. I don't mean to be rude, but the lodge was not that nice. Well, right, it was like off grid, and yeah, that's not rude at all. I mean, I thought it was like a palace. But yeah, I mean, it was very like crunchy granola, like bohemian, like total like boho thing. But yeah, maybe that's not how the granddad wanted it to be kept, right? Like, because they was just some wild hippies out there. Um, it's not rude, Billy Darling says. I don't think you're being rude. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, mother let her bathe in the river, so I imagine it was rustic and filthy. Yeah, I remember that part about how she bathed in the river. Mm, that cute little girl. I'm putting two and two together from grandfather and mother's behaviors and words. Allegedly, yes. When I saw pics of the lodge, all I see is dust and filth. That is wild, Billy darling. That is wild. Um, yeah, I never saw it like that, but I see your point totally. I mean, I don't think you're being rude at all. Um, Remember just the whole like Elsa theme, and then you even had a character named Elsa in the story. It was pretty weird. All that stuff hanging from the walls. Yeah, yeah. Well, and you're making me picture. There was one screenshot that I took of what looked like a demonic figure up high in like the ceiling area of the lodge. It had like the vaulted ceiling, and there was like a shelf up there and a lot of stuff. And right in the middle was like this big black demonic thing. And I don't think I have an image of it anymore. And I've tried to find it again, and I think it's been scrubbed. It was creepy. It was really weird. And the reason I don't have it is because I've had so many of my laptops get burned up. I've had my cell phones get burned up. I think that somebody like an MC Ultra might have been sending codes to my devices the way she said she could. Having somebody do it, I don't know, because it was Memorial Day weekend a couple of years ago when both my phone and my laptop like blacked out on the same day, and then I didn't have either over Memorial Day weekend. And I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to live without being able to do my content for a whole weekend? And then it turned into forever. Like I was able to get the cell phone by the end of the weekend. But then the laptop, I think that was when they sent it, like I took it to Best Buy and they sent it to China and they said it was going to be 6 weeks, and then it never got back to me. Like, so yeah, like, so all of the images that I had on that device, and that was the really good laptop. That was the one that was like a gaming laptop. That was like really high end. I miss it. I do. That was so fancy. I felt like it was something I could grow into, but then there was trouble with it. And so then I took it to Best Buy and they just gave me the runaround. It was insane. It was crazy. That's why I don't have that image. But yeah, I'm remembering that one specific. It was kind of like a totem, like a statue or something. And it was black and it was creepy. It was not like a Buddha or something. It was like Satan. And it was in the lodge, like in the center. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Did you ever see an image like that? Oh man, maybe I used it in a thumbnail. I'll go look through my 1,000 videos and see if I might have used it in a thumbnail. I actually think I did, now that I'm thinking about it. That'd be cool if I could find it. Let's see. All that stuff hanging from the walls. I agree, Billy. That's what I saw too. Picking up dust and grime. I mean, how can you clean that? You bathe in the. I agree. MC Ultra could have messed up all your devices. Yeah, I mean, that was no coincidence that they both blew up right before Memorial Day weekend. That was crazy. I mean, it was like almost the same day. It was like one day after another. And when I took my phone to the T-Mobile or whatever it was, they were just like, oh, this is the worst lemon we've ever seen. They were like, every once in a while, somebody will get a lemon. But they were like, but this is like no other lemon. And yeah, that was pretty weird. Excuse me. Okay, maybe I should wrap up. I don't like making the videos just because well, for one thing, I always want to review it, and it is hard to review a 2-hour video. It's not that hard to review a 1-hour video, but also I just, keep biting my inside of my mouth and stuff. Otherwise, I'd stay on. I'd just continue and go on for another hour. Because I love you guys. Thanks so much for coming in. And yeah, I think with all of this transporting stuff with the 70,000 kids, Billy, did you hear about the 70,000 kids abducted from Ukraine that are now in a online catalog? The Russians made an online catalog where you can order a Ukrainian kid to adopt. You can order by age, by eye color, and habits, and other specifications. This is real. I'm not making it up. I wish I was. I think online that the figure that they're putting out the most is 35,000, but it's probably more than twice that. I know it's been a great live. Oh, yeah, in a catalog. OMG. I know. I just heard about this morning. And I was just like, no way. And then another big scary thing, which is why, although I talk about the politics so much right now, but then I always want to talk about Kylie Rodney with the transporting. So not only with that Ukrainian crap, but with this situation in Alabama at the end of last month, 10 children were rescued from a storm bunker in this really small town. And they were like captive and abused. The county is Bibb County. The town is Centerville, but also a town called Brent, I think. So 10 kids that were age 3 to 15, most of them under the age of 10. They would rug them. They would restrain them. They had them in this underground storm bunker out in the woods. If you look it up online, you can see like a bird's eye view photo of and I'll put links in the description to some of the articles. It's insane. And then allegedly they were abused by strangers. They would make appointments. There's 7 adults that have been arrested, the ones who held them captive and made the appointments. And then they would videotape, photograph, and watch the abuse. And funny thing is, they can't find any of the videotapes. This town has under 3,000 people in it. That makes me so suspicious of the town. And especially because one of the cops that I saw an interview with was saying like, oh, there's so much more to this town. I don't want this to be what our town is known for. And I'm just like, well, what's your history of your town? Like, why would this one incident be what your town is known for? I mean, that's a really small population for people to not notice. And then who are the freaking pervs that are paying for this? That's why they can't find the tapes. They're protecting the pervs that paid. They just want to hang the Ghislaine Maxwell's out to dry. They don't want to hang any of the Johns out to dry. Just like in the little e-files. And my other big point, Billy Darling, just so you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. My big point is that Vladdy's got all the evidence on Donnie doing this type of stuff, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. And that's why Donnie is spineless. And the situation could be resolved with that if people in the know would just come clean and out Donnie and the freaking e-files. People in the know like Pamela Bondi, Pamela Joe, Cash Patel, Bongino, like he disappeared because he couldn't take it anymore. If Donnie was outed for being in the e-files, then Vladdy wouldn't have all this freaking power over him. Boom. The Ukrainian war could get more resolved. But right now, I feel like Vladdy has all the leverage, all the power, and thank goodness all the European nations are stepping up. Because we got to be real. If Ukraine continues to go down, they're never going to stop. Their goal is like world dominance, like a new world order. It's insanity. He could stop, please. Please, Annabise and Billy Darling, you guys are both so smart. I know that you can. We can do it together, right? Oh, it's been a great live. You're so sweet, Annabise. Our world is so evil. There's a lot of crap going down. Sounds like trucky BS. Agreed. Right, exactly. Which is my theory, like tying this little town in Alabama, tying that to Russia and the Ukrainian kids. And then you think of like Epstein Island, you think of all these places. Of course they have bunkers. Of course they've got tunnels and cellars and grossness. And then you got Z douchebag out there in Tahoe, you know, Zuck. And he brags about having bunkers and crap like that, and like a whole underground mansion. And like trying to tell me that these billionaires, like really they're just gonna have like a couple of kids with their nice little wifey, and they're not gonna like try to like spawn their seed and overpopulate the world with 5,000 of their DNA like Elon wants to, like the Zorro Ranch. Oh, okay, well, while we're just going all nuts all over the place, Billy darling, let me tell you this about the Zorro Ranch. The $85 million lottery ticket somebody cashed and put the money into Zorro Trust the day after little E was sentenced in 2008 for the sweetheart deal. The day after he was sentenced, a woman in Oklahoma won an $85 million Powerball, took the money in one lump sum, an anonymous woman, took the money in one lump sum and put it in her Zorro Trust. And allegedly her husband was an employee at the Zorro Ranch, and Jeffrey had a Zorro Trust also, and he used that trust specifically to pay politicians in New Mexico. Okay? Ah! I think we have the whole thing solved. These MFs, man, they need to get a hold of themselves. Absolutely disgusting. What are these effing people up to? Rig the lottery too? Oh, well, the most important thing that I missed is, see, there's too many details for me to like articulate all this important stuff. The night that $85 million Powerball was won, there was a glitch in the system and the whole thing shut down right before mystery woman won it and then put it all into Zorro Trust. And you can look this up. This has been, but there's a lot of evidence out there. It's not been debunked that it happened. It's been debunked that it's related to the Zorro Ranch. It's just that this woman whose husband may have worked at Zorro's Ranch, she just happened to have her own little Zorro Trust, because you know the way ranch hands' wives have trusts, right? Don't you know? Don't you know? Yeah, that's suspicious. Oh, and this is exactly why he got that sweetheart deal, is to protect all the Johns. To protect all the Johns. And that's exactly why the Epstein files are not being revealed. And I'm sure never will be. Never will be. And yeah, it would, I'm sure, blow all of our minds. But today, William Barr, who should have never had anything to do with the Epstein case, he had a deposition today. Did he have a deposition? Did he have to testify? I think a deposition is considered testifying. And I think that Jasmine Crockett was one of the people in the room. I think there were like 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. And, you know, we all know that William Barr he has a conflict of interest in having any business with the E-files because of his father's role in getting little E his first job as a high school teacher at all-girls school. It was all-girls school. It was becoming co-ed around the time that Jeffrey taught there, but he lied. He said he had a degree. He didn't have a degree. He had dropped out of school. So, and they tried to say, well, Donald Barr was the headmaster until like the end of the school year of 1974, I think was the year. And then little E started the job in September of 1974. But this is like the most elite private school in all of Manhattan, where you're teaching the super filthy rich people's kids. So you're going to do a lot of screening for a job like that. That hire is going to take a long time. So I believe that even if William Barr quit working at the place at the end of the school year in 1974, and Jeffrey didn't start until September of 1974, I still believe that Donald Barr got him the job. That's my opinion. Coco wants to get out of the room. Okay, we're going to wrap up. It's a 2-hour mark. Wow, that's suspicious. Yes, I have a few LOL not. It's probably bipartisan that they don't want the little e-files out there. I mean, I am fine with any, I don't care what, Democrat, Republican, Independent. If you're doing that to kids, burn in hell. Like, and I don't think anybody should want to protect someone just because they're of the same political party. Like, that's insane. That's completely insane. That doesn't even make sense. That's like one of these freaking mental illness group delusions. Where did I put my notes about that? The too many notes. I'm just going to wrap up. But that's weird that I can't find it, though. Now it's just bothering me. Too many pages. I'm probably looking right at it. Yeah, I am. It's right after the tweeter toddler, the shared psychotic disorder. The yeah. I mean, that to me is twisted. Like, why would you care just because somebody's of the same political persuasion that you'd want to protect them? That's ridiculous. I don't care either. Name them all. Yeah, absolutely. That's why you're called the filthy rich, because they're filthy. Yeah. Okay. Love and light, my dear. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, if it all works out. And I'm going to try to do my videos around, let's say 1 to 2, somewhere around there this week, just like I tried to last week. Drink your water, eat your protein, and have a really lovely rest of your day. Thanks a million, you guys. See you soon.